Hello, Lynn Watts here with Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books. And today I want to talk about goal setting and using vision boards to help children be successful with goals and to visualize their goals. So I think this is a great technique. Probably as an adult, maybe you've made a vision board. If so, you know that a vision board is simply taking something like a piece of poster board. You can use various different sizes and putting on it different pictures, images, words. You can even draw on it. Just anything that gives a visualization to a goal or perhaps to an intention, or to even, I've used them on occasion in terms of creating a word for the year. So vision boards help students imagine or visualize the goal that they have. And it works especially well for children for a lot of different reasons. One, it's much easier to understand than, talking about a goal and how it needs to be concrete and it needs to, have a time frame and this sort of thing. I think that's all very important, but a good way to start and to give children something they can really hold on to is to use a vision board. So it's easy to understand. It's very engaging. So you can write out a goal and perhaps post it on the wall or on a bulletin board somewhere where you might see it over and over. But a vision board really kind of draws your attention. As people, we're very much attracted to vision and things that are visual. So a vision board fills that need. It's developmentally appropriate. So a vision board can be for all different ages. And you don't have to worry too much about students understanding the words or the context or that sort of thing. They can pick out the pictures that really make sense to them. And finally, it can be very emotionally meaningful. There's something very satisfying about seeing an image and knowing that you would like to see yourself in that situation, whether that, maybe your goal is to be successful in a sport and you have a picture of a sports figure that you really admire, or you have a picture of a goal or someone achieving a goal, and that visualization is emotionally very satisfying and pleasing. So there's a lot of good reasons to use vision boards. And I think that it's, despite the fact that it is much more time consuming than simply teaching about goals, I think there are a lot of good reasons to use them. So to just put it very simply, the easiest way to do a vision board is to have a poster board that each child has and then provides images that they can cut out and glue onto the board. Now, the question becomes, especially with children, like, where are you going to find these images? Typically, I think people have used magazines, but if you're going to do that with children, then of course you need to find some magazines that are going to be appropriate for children in the sense that it's going to have actual images on there, not of fashion models or, not of maybe food and cooking or decor, some of the things that are appealing, at least to women in magazines, I would say, but something that would appeal to children. And so you want to look for magazines that are specifically designed for children. National Geographic for kids, for instance. Highlights might be another one. You could also perhaps use some images on Pinterest. Of course, now in that case, you're going to have to print them. And that, of course, can get very expensive. You could have kids bring in images. And then finally, you could have kids draw images, which can work or not work depending on the age of children. Young children, I think are much more open to perhaps to being kind of creative and drawing things and, not being feel like it has to look exactly like they want it to look. As you get older, students may feel that they're not creative enough to do that. You could use photographs. You could have kids use a phone camera, take some images and print those. So again, I think there are a lot of different options. You just have to think about what is your budget. and what's available to the children that you're working with. Once you have that, then you want students to arrange those images on their board in some way. And then I think it's helpful to have them share their board either with a partner or perhaps with a class, and to really kind of identify what it is that this vision board represents for them, and then talk about how they're going to use it going forward. For instance, are they going to post it in their room? Are they going to have it, perhaps they have it in the classroom? Maybe you make a bulletin board full of vision boards. And how often are they going to refer back to that? So a vision board can be very useful for an individual that you're counseling with and perhaps setting some goals with. You could also design a whole class around it, and you could also do a small group. A small group would really be an excellent way to do it, because then you could work on that vision board over time. That's the other thing that I think you have to be very aware of. Children can really, just as adults can, to tell you the truth, but children can get really lost in the finding the images and getting them on the board, and it can take a lot of time to create a vision board. So if you have you can certainly carry it over in a class, but I think a small group that you might be doing or an individual counseling session might be one of the better ways to work with a vision board and kids setting goals. So those are just some ideas about vision boards. I'm going to link this YouTube video to a whole post about vision boards and some of the many different ways that you can use them, as well as some of the benefits of vision boards. So as always, thanks so much for listening, and thanks for all the great things that you do to improve children's lives.